Hi, Pitch Wars. My name is Ashley Hearn, and I'm a YA mentor this year, broadcasting live from sunny Florida, where I drove down yesterday from Wisconsin. I was going to make this all one video answering all the questions, amazing questions that I received on Twitter, but after recording, it got to be about 20 minutes, so I'm actually going to do 3 or 4 videos breaking them down into individual components. This first one is going to be an introduction to me and some of the wish list questions that I've received. I'm going to do another one on queries and synopsises, another really quick one on critique partners, and then the last one is going to be kind of go forth and conquer message about what to do, life after Pitch Wars, whether you get in or whether you don't. So stick around, these will be coming out today and tomorrow mostly. First, a little bit about me. I'm both a writer and an editor, represented by Krista Heschke at Macintosh and Otis. I love writing Southern Gothic fiction, even though I have dabbled in some of the urban and contemporary fantasy as well, but lately it's the Southern Gothic that's captured my heart. As an editor, I am a freelance editor. I intern at Entangled Publishing, and I do some contract work for some copy editing work for other publishing companies. Um, I like doing both the writing and the editing, and that's kind of the direction that my heart has taken me after I graduated from college with a film degree. Okay, so my wish list. Not lying when I say I'm pretty much open to everything. I'm gonna kind of stay away from the hard sci-fi just because I don't read it and love it quite enough to take you away from some of the other amazing YA mentors. And in contemporary, I'm limited to quirky concepts, something with kind of a mystery thriller vibe, unique settings, and sports, especially sports romance. Um, Not looking for some of the issue books, the quieter literary verse novels. There are some amazing mentors out there looking for that stuff, but I'm going to kind of stick with more of the hard commercial fiction line. Things that I want to see genre mashing. I want to see maybe your YA fantasy with a sports team that also has a romance, anything that combines different elements of my wish list. YA fantasy horror, YA Southern Gothic fairy tales. I'm really, really, really looking for own voices and diversity. It's okay if you have a diverse manuscript that isn't own voices, but be prepared. If I fall in love with it and I request pages, I'm going to ask you why you chose to write about a culture that isn't your own. So be prepared to answer that question. I think it's very, very important for those of you who are writing outside of your cultural boundaries. Intersectionality is also really important to me. I want to see your LGBT people of color. I want to see your LGBT disabled people. I want to see your teens struggling with poverty. I basically want to see your characters who reflect the world around us, which is layered and diverse in so many different ways and in so many different levels. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. People were asking about things that I don't want to see. I really struggle nailing that down just because I never know what's going to surprise me. Um, Besides the genres that I'm not looking for, I'm a hard sell for fairies and mermaids just because I have a hard time suspending my disbelief there. I am open to being persuaded, but for some reason, those are creatures that I'm a hard sell for. Angels and demons, I love paranormal, don't get me wrong. I'm open to werewolves, were anything. Angels and demons, I'm still a little burned out on. Vampires, I'm a little burned out on. I'm probably more open to being swayed, especially if you do vampires with some really, really unique spin. Same with zombies. If your zombies are like warm bodies, then I'm totally open to that. Especially if it combines, again, other elements of my wish list. If you kind of have a mystery thriller with zombies in a unique setting, or if you have a LGBT vampire romance um, with some fantasy elements, then that sounds amazing. So as long as it's something unique. As far as like auto rejects, um, really not looking for all white heterosexual CIS able-bodied casts. Um, It's okay if some of your characters are all of those things, but I want to see at least some diversity in the worlds because that's the world we live in. I actually have a hard time suspending my disbelief for all white heterosexual CIS able bodied casts because that's just not the world we live in. At least it's not the world that I live in. I have a hard time with books without romance. It doesn't have to be the main plot, but I would at least like to see it as a romantic subplot. LGBT, awesome. Enemies to lovers, love it. I love romances that start out as kind of a rivalry. I love forbidden romances. Um, Anything that, yeah, has like a lot of tension, really trope centric, and is slow burning. I really am not looking for insta love. It's not an auto reject, but just know that if your romance is kind of towing the line of insta love, then that's probably something that we're going to work on, making that a little bit more slow burning and tension filled. Novels that have a really high word count are going to be tough for me. I'm really looking at something under 120,000. Again, it's not going to be an auto reject. I'm still going to look at your query and your pages to see if your concept is something that connects with me. But anything over 120,000 words is just going to be hard for me to work with in the time period that we're given. It's only a few months, and I really want to be able to do 2 rounds of edits with my mentee. But when we get up into those higher word counts, it just means that it's more time that I have to spend reading. It's more time to write the edit letter. It's more time for the mentee to edit. And so we're really going to be pushing that deadline with something that's a lot longer. I really don't want to limit it beyond that just because I don't know what's going to grab me. Whatever it is, it'll be something that makes me go, "Oh my gosh, I never would have thought of that. How did you think of that? Where does this inspiration come from? I've got to know more." And that could be, I have no idea where that's going to come from. So that's all for video 1. If there's something that I didn't address or you have more questions, again, at me on Twitter. I will answer either there, or if I feel like it's something that should be broadcast, I will answer it at the start or the end of the next video. Hopefully part 2 will come out later this evening or maybe early tomorrow morning. Until then, happy Pitch Wars, everyone.